office of the Times, the Trentonian, and the clerk of the city of Trenton, as well as posted in the main entrance of the authority, 875 New Willow Street, in accordance with the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law. Roll call.
Commissioner Gentry?
Here.
Commissioner Green?
Here.
Commissioner Lopez? Here. Commissioner Raines? That's absent. Commissioner Staton?
Here.
Commissioner Walker?
Here.
Chairwoman Weldon Gordon?
Here. At this time, can I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gentry?
Abstain. I wasn't here.
Commissioner Green?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Staton?
Yes.
Commissioner Walker?
Yes.
Chairwoman Weldon Gordon?
Yes. At this time, can I have a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes for the meeting held on February 11, 2026?
So moved.
Second. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gentry?
Abstain again.
Commissioner Green?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Staton?
Yes.
Commissioner Walker?
Yes.
Commissioner Weldon Gordon?
Yes. At this time, we have a report from the secretary.
In your possession, we've created a memo in reference to our previous board meeting that was held at Prospect Village. This is an update on the outstanding items that was presented by the residents of the Abbey Building. There's a large number of issues that was addressed on that particular day that had been taken care of, but we've identified continued issues with mold, which could be due to building ventilation. We're looking to have an assessment done on that building so we can put together a capital needs plan for this upcoming seasonal change. For there, that would entail flushing events and taking a deeper look at those HVAC systems that operate those buildings. And we will also look at the building envelope itself. A few years back, we did an assessment and we actually did break pointing. We did addressing the actual windows, the ceiling of windows. So we're going to revisit that to see if there's any additional unforeseen circumstances that's causing mold in those units. We have also identified critical repairs that are needed from different aspects of flooring to closet spacing at those buildings, and we'll also be putting those into an assessment for usage of our capital funds. But as you see here, there were units that we actually addressed and we went through, so we'll continue to update the board as we go along to completion.
Any question? Yes. Well, first, I guess a comment. Thank you, because I was going to ask about the root cause for the vents, if there was any, like, if you knew why there was mold. So we'll have an analysis, so that's appreciated. And then for the mainline backup issue, do we know the root cause of that as well?
Just putting stuff in the pipes.
Yeah.
The demographics of our buildings have changed and the usage has exceeded what it was currently constructed for. So you have people putting foreign items in those systems. Foreign items could be grease, it could be different disposable diapers that are not disposable diapers. So that's what we have to look at for those particular communities and do a better education on what should and shouldn't go down those systems.
Okay, so then, I guess, once everything is down there, it's kind of hard to determine what it is at that point, but
Yeah.
it seems as though it's something that wasn't able to pass through.
Yeah, and in some of the scenarios that was identified by residents, where if it's a long-term leak, where the residents identified that there was additional leaks that was coming in their unit, because the pipes are actually, older pipes, deteriorating pipes. When you start to flush those lines and you're putting down those snakes down those lines, it throws them offline. And it'll throw the pipe offline, causing a leak that will cause additional damage. So we have to look at replacement of that too. which
So-
comes with a capital needs assessment.
Okay, so the same assessment is gonna go into, so the capital needs assessment is everything that it needs for maintenance for that building?
Yes,
It's not
that's the
just-
capital needs assessment, but we will be looking at the mold and ventilation specifically to use capital funds for that project versus using our operating funds.
And so, when it comes to the mainline issue,
That would be,
that you would be able to use those funds?
Yes, sir.
Even though it's, okay,
instead
so,
of continuously using our emergency funds, which depletes our operating subsidy.
okay, got it. Thank you.
I have
Any-
a question. There's the areas where you have mold. Where's the mold, like exterior walls or interior in the unit?
Most of it's been, it's interior in the unit, but it's mostly been identified around the vents. We have exhaust vents, it's a lot of black, lot of buildup around those vents.
Exhaust vents?
And the exhaust vents, because of where they're located. So the exhaust vents are in that kitchen, there's a lot of moisture in that kitchen area. And then you also have, some of our systems from an individual standpoint, the blower motors weren't working. So that circulation of air wasn't going efficient.
Okay.
Chair, I do have one more question.
Commissioner Lopez?
In regard to the pipes again, it sounded like although we fixed the clog, there's gonna be some continual issues of some leaks coming up,
Potentially, yes.
potentially.
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of, at a certain point, it's gonna be reactionary unless we're able to change the whole pipes, but is there a plan in place to kind of, if those things do start to come up a little more frequently, to address them?
Yes, so when you put together the capital needs assessment, it's gonna let you know how much our capital costs are for that particular building. That building is under one hand, that's 3 senior buildings. Those senior buildings may need to be repositioned. We may have to look at that from an actual repositioning of the property so we can get long-term value out of that and do a full rehab of those buildings. Okay, so that may be something that may be necessary, and we'll come to the board presenting that those buildings the capital needs for those buildings could exceed $20 million. We don't have $20 million in our coffers to do something like that, so we would have to go out and do a rental assistance demonstration for addressing those, potentially.
Typically, how long is the capital needs assessment, the process?
2-3 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, 2-3 weeks. They'll go into every unit, they'll look at your systems, and from a plumbing standpoint, I want to say it's going to be generalized, but they're going to look at the age of our main lines. A few years back, we had, I think it was Mr. Leggett brought it to our attention that due to the age of our pipes, you can have additional clogging. And so that additional clogging that's there, you have a 75-year-old pipe, that pipe is going to have residuals or sediment that's in that pipe.
Mhm.
Now your pipe is at a 60% capacity versus being at 100% capacity. So what's going through that pipe is not, sufficient for that building and today's needs.
Mhm.
So we would have to look at how do we change all those lines? How do we do that? Is it in place? Is it half occupied? How do we do that? And that would have to be an additional assessment. So we would have a capital needs assessment to say that these are the costs. This is what we should have to go out for a loan to get this project done. And then we'll look at how do we actually complete it from a safety plan.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Staton?
I just had one question. What's the timeline
The timeline for which?
for the mold remediation?
Oh, we're looking at going out for the change of season. When the season changes over, we're looking at getting it done for the summer.
Okay.
So right now, we don't want to risk having to go back and it's cold outside and we don't put our
Yeah.
systems down. We don't want to take that risk right now.
Thank you.
I have one question. When you talked about the vents, will this clear up, all of, cause this winter, the tenants was complaining about they was getting cold air. So maybe, when they clean the vents, this will help the heat flow through better also?
The complete assessment would help.
Okay.
Because some of the issues that were brought to our attention were isolated to that particular unit. As we mentioned, each one of the units units has its own blower motor that circulates the air through that unit. Not all of the motors were down for the building, it was just certain units that were down. And so when we do the assessment, it's gonna let us know specifically which ones are at their end of life cycle, and which we should change, and we'll have a better idea of, okay, from a preventative maintenance standpoint, what we should be changing out motor wise, or what we should keep in stock for motors that will potentially fail.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I have a question. So under the, am I doing my education? Is that new business or is that separate?
No, you can go into new business, because this is your time. It's
All right.
important to fix that.
And so from an information standpoint, okay, HUD just put out a notice as a continuance of what we spoke about with immigration status, with how we will be looking at new residents. They did an overall change, which is rescinding how we look at income or eligibility verifications. When we look at new tenants coming into the public housing, and we start pulling people off the wait list, they're reducing the leniency that we were given previously. As a policy change for HUD, they're going to be more strict. When you do a intake, there are times that we were allotted a year for someone that didn't have their social security number to move in. They give them that time for them to get the social security number, do what they need to do from a green card standpoint, or whatever that immigration standpoint is. They're taking that away. They're not going to allow that as a valid move-in if you do not have the proper paperwork for tenancy and occupancy of our units. That eligibility procedure is going to be something that we have to look at our ACOP and amend our ACOP and place that in there so residents and potential applicants are aware that that's not what will be. We will not be accepting incomplete documentation. That's my update.
So, is this just for, well,
Yes or no?
is it across the board for everybody? Because if you are already born here, it shouldn't take you that long to get your social security card anyway, right?
You should have the information. You should have a proper documentation regardless. When you come to apply, you should be providing the proper documentation. We're not to provide any more leniency in that. Waivers. No more waivers.
Okay.
And for the existing residents, we identified one family that was in question with their tenancy and their particular citizenship status. So we have to help, we want to help those residents satisfy that issue. We want to make sure that they have the opportunity to complete their citizenship documentation. HUD is going to apply timelines for making sure that those citizens can stay here eligible, or they're going to pursue some other means of removal. So we want to prevent that. Luckily, we only have one family that's in question. But any new families that come in, to prevent that, they're saying, don't even accept it. You're not an eligible resident.
And if you don't comply, HUD will withhold funding. That's the bottom line.
Yes, sir.
If what?
If we don't comply.
If you don't comply, HUD will withhold funding. That's the ultimate leverage that they always exert in those situations.
Withhold funding from the entire organization?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, they haven't,
They haven't specified, but I wouldn't want to risk it.
Yeah.
definitely for that family, they will, but they can seek additional penalties for that.
So if the family don't get the documentation, we will have to remove them?
That's my, or help them seek out alternative housing. Yeah. So staff is currently working with that family.
Okay.
Commissioner Walker?
Are they still accepting green cards? Is HUD, did they say anything about accepting green
Yes,
cards?
that's a part of the citizen.
That's good.
But if it's a green card in the first phase of acceptance, we're not doing it. It has to be completed. You have to have all your citizenship documentation at the point of we're doing our intake process.
So, I'm not sure with this, but, clarify this for me. So, the people who have green cards, I don't think they have social security numbers.
well, that qualifies as their citizenship documentation like that, would
So the
suffice.
number on their green card is okay.
Yeah, that would, I believe that, as long as it's valid, I think that would suffice. But individuals that are in the application process and things along those lines, in the past, we've been able to admit them in with them to obtain that documentation, but now, due to these restraints, we're saying, the HUD is saying that they will no longer be, they should no longer be acceptable without, unless they have that documentation at presented, we're accepting their candidacy for residency.
And so for the housing authority, it's not a direct issue, but it's a community issue.
Correct.
So when we look at it, the demographics of our wait list, it starts affecting, people that actually need housing. And now we're removing them because of these measures, these policies that are being put in place.
Commissioner Stevens?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the application process online will include the spot for the Social Security, so you can determine it immediately.
Yes, ma'am. They're supposed to upload those documents. They scan all the documents
At the very
themselves.
beginning, okay.
Yes.
Question.
Commissioner Lopez?
As it stands, how often do applicants end up needing a waiver on average?
I couldn't tell you that specifically.
Is it more of an exception than?
It's more of an exception. It's not, we don't have a lion's share of our applicants. I think the last time we looked at it, our population is about 4%. So now when we look at what the applicant's process is, now we'll start moving through, we have to basically audit our system. So when we audit the system, we go through and we purge it. As we're purging it, there's going to be people that have incomplete documentation. And that incomplete documentation, we'll reach out and ask them to provide the necessary paperwork if they can. It's more of a hard no versus we'll wait the previously 180 days or for them to get the documentation. When they move in, we were allotted up to a year for them to get the documentation. Now, they're basically saying they're rescinding all of that. So, just take them off. That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My last question, I guess, is to you, Mr. Truelove. So say we have a tenant who is here and the year is almost up and they still don't have that documentation. So are they evicted immediately? Or do you have to set aside for them to go to court and talk about it?
That's a good question. I think I would err on the side of going through the normal eviction process. The challenge is, that's a state process, whereas this is a federal regulation.
It might be a sanctuary city,
Yeah, I don't know what the federal government's, and I don't know what HUD is required. They say now, even basic due process principles would allow somebody to have a court hearing and all that kind of stuff, as opposed to immediately being tossed out into the street. But that's assuming that, that's the law that I learned, and I know everybody else here appreciates. Whether or not that's what currently will be administered, who knows? But I would err on that side for right now.
And so from a state perspective, our initiative is homeless prevention, right? So we don't want to create more homelessness in the community. On our previous calls with HUD from our recovery plan and having these questions about implementation of these procedures coming from federal, it's try to, try to exhaust all your options before pursuing that. But this would be a violation of the ACOP, and we can take it to court for that particular violation. It's just like we can take residents to court for failure to recertify. So in this, they can't certify that they're a legal citizen, then we can take them to court for that. But we haven't pursued that option. We're trying to help.
And we just have one family.
Just one family.
Okay.
It's a critical family. It's a
Yes.
family, but it's just
Right.
one family.
Is children involved?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But here, you cannot evict a tenant, only the courts can. That becomes an issue in itself right there.
So for us, it's just showing we're compliant. We identified best steps on what to do. It was, the recommendation was try to help.
The only reason why I ask that question is because right now, with the way things are in the world, it is harder for people to get some documentations right now, you know.
Maybe because the staffing in the different agencies has been diminished so much. For example.
Correct. Okay. Go ahead and do the resolutions now, please.
Resolution 2611 and 2612 will be presented by Mr. Tibbs.
All right. Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
All right, we'll start with Resolution 2611, which is our disbursement resolution. This resolution authorizes the approval for disbursements for February in the amount of $872,212.39, split between the general fund and the capital fund. It is recommended that the Board of Commissioners adopt the resolution approving the disbursements for the month of February.
Can I have a motion to adopt resolution 26-11?
Motion moved.
Second.
Any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Gentry,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Staton,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Chairwoman Weldon Gordon.
Yes.
All right. Resolution 26-12. This resolution addresses the vacant unit turnaround or focus that the agency is putting on at this present time to turn these units over to increase our occupancy rates. This resolution has been drafted for contractors to put out a bid. The THA public bid went out on January 11th for contractors to request bid packages, which was then received and resubmitted for changing from an IFB to a RFQ, request for qualifications, which will enable us to have more than one contractor on staff in the event that things need to happen faster and can turn things around quickly. The THA advertised the RFQ on February 8th. Responses were due by March 3rd. 12 requests for qualification packages were requested. Only 3 submissions were received, in which all 3 of the contractors were deemed to be responsive and responsible. It is my recommendation that the Board of Commissioners adopt the resolution authorizing the Executive Director to enter into a contract with the 3 contractors named in the resolution, not to exceed the total amount of $75,000 on the year.
Can I have a motion to adopt resolution 26-12?
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Commissioner Walker?
Have we had any experience with any of these contractors?
Yes. So the contractors were, I would say at least two of the contractors I know of personally that were assisting us in past, I guess, dealings, but we weren't under contract. It was more of a one-off scenario, kind of working with them individually. So this allows us to reduce the costs by having them under the contract and also being able to call them out at a moment's notice because they kind of make us a priority because they have an agreement with us in place.
And so peace of mind, they're actually doing the vacant unit turnover. Trash Junkies was the primary from previous layers that we've been using, and Castle Consultant is the new consultant, the gentleman.
That was the gentleman that came to the meeting.
So we're bringing them on as an extension of service. So they'll do the clean out plus doing the unit turnover where necessary. We were initially using Trash Junkies to reduce some of the risks that we have going with Donnelly Homes and cleaning out those units at Donnelly Homes, because people are going into those units for whatever belongings or items that's still in the units.
So you're pretty satisfied with them?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question. Please educate me. So we have staff, we have the other contractors that we approved to have
turning over the units,
turn over
vacant
units.
unit turnovers. Mhm.
And now we have them. So, I'm just confused as to why so many. And I'm quite sure you have an answer for that.
Sure, I'll defer to
The
Mr. Godfrey.
issue that we have with our staff doing the heavy units, when we say a heavy unit, that unit may have somebody who skipped out, they have a whole bunch of furniture in it, is the disposal. They get rid of that material. We can no longer go and do how we were doing it under a partnership. We were taking our stuff to the city. So our staff was just driving over to the city facility and dropping it off. The city's pushing back on using it in that fashion. So now we're putting the onus on these contractors for, again, heavy units. When it's a light unit, that means they're just going in, they're cleaning it up, so the initial contractor can do that. But our staff, they're not letting us pull up in our THA vehicles anymore with dressers and stuff of that nature.
Yeah.
We were putting cabinetry outside of the containers. They stopped, the city stopped picking them up. So there was delays in services for picking up our trash because those trash bins are not rated for the pickup of commercial needs.
So these contracts include clean out as well as removal of the debris that is in the units as well. So that kind of packages it all together.
And so it's not for every unit that we turn over. This is when we get an extensive unit where somebody, and then they just vacate the property and just skip out. So if they skip out, it's gonna be, you'll have what is it called? You'll have a dresser, beds, and all those particular items that the city's saying that they're not gonna pick up.
So my last question is, who is responsible for the garbage that's outside of, an area, outside of, right across the street from where the office is, you know, back there in that parking lot, there's dumpsters back there. So who cleans up that garbage back there?
Yeah,
Staff does that?
yeah. But Gary, that's their responsibility, but what you'll see is, and what we are trying to fight is dumping, right? So individuals who from the city, who realize we have a dumpster and decide to come and drop off couches or dressers and things along those lines, just near the dumpster, right? So now that those items need to be discarded as well, which also slows our process down. And so they're not residents of the agency, but they're in the city, so they just drop it here, so it's a dumping issue. So we're trying to combat that as well.
Because the reason why I asked that question is because nobody puts the garbage inside the dumpster. It's all around the dumpster, which doesn't make any sense to me. But I do know that because I watch, it's parents sending their kids out to bring the garbage, and they can't reach, you know, because they're too small. Okay, thank you so much. Any other questions? Commissioner Staton?
Madam Chair, to your comment regarding the unauthorized dumping, for the city, they had that same problem with alleys and things like that, and they actually installed a camera so that they can capture who those people are, and it's been very successful.
We have the cameras, we've been working with the city to identify those persons that are legal dumping. The city's saying that we're not picking it up. They're saying that trash, that's on you now. You have to either pay to have that removed, or you have to figure that out. But we'll go after the person that is taking the process. There's been a few that were identified here at Donnelly Homes, as well as Wilson Homes, for doing the dumping. We got the pictures of the vehicle, the license plates, but when it comes to the materials that's there, like Ms. Staten is saying, I mean, Ms. Weldon is saying, if there's any large items, cabinetry, if it's
Dressers.
beds, dressers, all that stuff that's outside
Mattresses.
the dumpster that they couldn't fit in, they're pushing back now and saying that they don't wanna collect that, because now they gotta get out.
Got it.
They gotta get out the vehicles, they gotta do additional servicing, which we're not really paying for.
Two questions.
Commissioner?
First question, so like, say like a regular house on Stuyvesant Avenue, they were getting rid of a dresser, would the city pick it up from there?
On your bulk day or
Yeah,
something.
certain days and times.
Yeah, we can't just, unfortunately, we'll have it there, they put it there every day. If they're doing a house on Stuyvesant, they driving around the corner and just dumping it on our property.
Okay, and my second question is, how many units are we overturning?
How we're looking to turn over
How many?
right now, in
Yes,
the moment,
yes,
I think we're at about 30 units right now.
okay.
So we're scheduled to go at 30 units. Last month, we just finalized the vacant unit contract.
Mm-hmm.
So they're slated to go in about 30 units.
Yeah.
But that 30, it's not guaranteed that all 30 units need cleanup.
Okay.
Like that.
Yeah, again, this is only reserved for the heavy units or the major units that have major overhaul and turn on things along those lines, which is why we're trying to manage that cost and we call these guys out. But initially, the process is hopefully can be handled internally. But if these are for those units that need additional assistance and things along those lines, yeah.
Thank you so much. Roll call.
Commissioner Gentry,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner State,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker,
No.
Chairwoman Weldon Gordon.
Yes. So we went through information education. Is there any new business,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
I wanted to ask about low-income housing tax credit. I know that for Choice Neighborhood, we're relying on this for our developments. We have a 4%. My understanding is there also exists an 11% at the state level. If it's not 11, it's a higher percentage than the 4.
Isn't it 9?
Is it 9?
4-9.
4 and 9, excuse me, so it's 9. And I wanted to inquire how we can try to advocate to get a higher income housing tax credit if possible, especially considering the context of our city many times succumbing to the wills of the state to our detriment. And so I want to be able to kind of advocate for ourselves in that way. So that's the question. I don't know if the director has thoughts or any commissioners have thoughts, but it's an issue that I think should be explored by the board.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Could you explain more?
About which part?
About pursuing the higher rated tax credit. What do you mean by that? Like for a potential property or project, or like what do you mean by that?
For Choice Neighborhood, for the developments that we're already having planned, so whether we had in the report, I believe for the junior one, development or redevelopment, trying to aim for the 4% funding for the tax credit.
So
Trying to see if we can get 9%. So,
on a specific project, it's competitive. So just like if you're going after a grant, you're gonna have other applicants. When those other, say the 9%, once that fills up, you have to go for a 4%, and you start looking at your timing. Depending on how many other development projects that are going on, it may just be 4% that's left. And so you would essentially be stalling out your project, waiting for 9%. And if you're waiting for 9%, it still only funds up to a certain amount of your project, so you're gonna have to pursue additional capital. So it's really the developer that goes for that. The housing authority doesn't go for the tax credits.
Got it. And when it comes to criteria, is there any benefit of us being, say, the capital city can go into for when the developer applies for any of those tax credits?
Using the Choice Neighborhood, yes. So for the Choice Neighborhood, because we're in partnership with the state and the city, and there's Executive Order 40 that was issued by the governor, that gives more so carte blanche to projects that are coming out of Trenton. So we can make the phone calls necessary and get our stuff streamlined or bumped up in that needs area. But when it comes for the specific 9% or 4%, that's the HNFA that's still run like from a federal standpoint, it's not just New Jersey that dictates those percentage rates. And you're still dealing with the Treasury Department and that nature, so it's what's available at that point in time when you're doing it. But we have built a phenomenal relationship from Choice Neighborhoods. So we do get a lot of, I guess, privileges or, you know, we have preferential treatment because of the project.
And so for any future developments related to Choice Neighborhood, because I understand timing is important. Right now, it sounds like you were saying only 4% is available for the timing of
When they were doing,
for year one.
yeah.
For any future developments, can we try to proactively kind of put onto the developer, hey, we
Yeah.
want you to apply for the 9%, and then our end also, you know, leverage our relationships?
Yes, and on there is always primary when they go for it, and that it's, you can take there could be a number of things, developers' credit worthiness, all those things are gonna play into it as well, of what they can and can't leverage for those credits.
Okay.
But yes, we definitely could pursue additional, resources, making sure they get the developer gets the proper support when we're making those applications.
So then, outside of Junior One, what would be the next property within Choice Neighborhood that could potentially benefit from a 9% tax credit? Battle Monument is kind of off the table now, right?
If I have money.
That area where they're doing maternity health for, we're not using that property anymore, or that land anymore.
Right.
Right, that's, yeah, it's,
Yeah.
So what other land or property would potentially be able to be a project for?
so right now they're looking at phase 2 infill. So the phase 2 infill is clustering the properties that were conveyed to the housing authority by the city.
Okay.
So those properties were packaged, the developer is packaging those up, and then they're going out to sell those tax credits for those particular properties. That would be the next phase that they'll be looking at.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
So excuse me, you're saying that the city will decide what properties they are?
You know, the city has already conveyed to us roughly 250 plots. So they've already given us the plots, and we're packaging those plots up for best impact, improvement, for getting a bigger bang for our buck to do it. And so we'll present the package based off of what the developer can actually get funded.
Another question in reference to, I digress, though, the vouchers that DCA has promised us, where are we with that as far as receiving vouchers to relocate more of these residents in Darling?
We just sent over 36 applicants. So we sent over 36 applications to DCA for those vouchers. They're going through that process of eligibility, and we should hear back within the next month.
Madam
Commissioner
Chair,
Lopez?
one last question. In regard to the relocations, I see that a lot of what we have are emergency transfers. Is there a reason why there's a lot of emergency transfers rather than a more, like, planned through, a more formal approach?
We're transitioning to the formal approach because we received the CHAP. To do that formal approach, the CHAP kickstarts us getting temporary vouchers. We did an emergency because we identified the current conditions of the property. So Donnelly Homes in the walk-up area was deemed an emergency because you had a limited amount of families populating some of those dwelling, the walk-up dwelling. We only had one family in it, which presented a dangerous scenario for someone that was near elderly or handicapped. So to prevent any further occurrences, we issued an emergency to make sure that we can move those families out afterwards. Or in more timely fashion. Especially we want to prevent having those units sit vacant for an extended period of time. So we were trying to get that done as expeditiously as possible. That's why we did an emergency.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? I know this is not on here, but old business. I have two questions. Where are we with 225 West State Street?
So right now, 225 West State Street, we just,
I'm sorry, is it 225 or 240? I think it's 240.
Right, the old hotel.
I don't know.
Holiday.
You know, I'm not from Minnesota.
Alright, so that particular, project, we've been approached by the developer again this week, and they're revisiting us providing bonding capacity. Bonding capacity for the project gives the ability, it gives the developer the ability to go out and pursue funds similar to the tax credit process. Right now, we're going to work with them on the application again. So we were previously given, the board previously gave the administration to the ability to go out for 27 million. So now they're asking for 50 million. So we have to present that particular package and bring it back to the board. And yes, so right now, within the next 2 weeks, we might have to call emergency meeting.
Okay. My second question, Mr. Leggett, can you tell me where are we with the lights in Josephson? Remember, somebody was supposed to talk to PSC&G?
Be honest with you, I haven't heard back from PSCG on that matter for Josephson, but I'll look back into it. I'll revisit that.
So still no lights back there?
Josephson had lights.
Yes, French.
It was French that we had an issue. French we had an issue.
No, there was some lights out back in the back of Josephson,
Yes,
because the residents were complaining about that.
yes, Mr. Leggett.
I'll look into that one. All right.
Thank
My
you.
apologies.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
while Mr. Leggett's here,
I'm sorry.
while Mr. Leggett is at the stand, I have a question.
Commissioner Staton.
Mr. Leggett, can you speak to the fire situation, fire drills, drills, the identification on apartments where the residents have mobility issues?
I might.
So for the fire, we had the meeting scheduled with the fire director, but due to the weather, they canceled it. So now we have to come up with another schedule for that. So we add that on our schedule to address that.
Okay. So I would just simply ask if there'd be a sense of urgency for that. That's it. And please keep me posted on when that next meeting is with the fire director. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Thank you, Mr. Leggett. At this time, we're gonna have public session. For one, I would appreciate if you turn off your cell phones. And two, I want to remind you, it is public comment. It's not answer and question. It is comment. Who's first?
Madam Chair,
Hold on.
Sorry.
Madam Chair, if you'd recognize our councilwoman at large, Crystal Feliciano, she's in the building. I know she's here on her lunch, so would she have the ability to speak first before we start with the residents? Is that all right with the board?
Yes.
Councilwoman?
I'll try to lay in the cut. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak today. I'm actually not on lunch. I'm on bereavement leave because my grandmother passed away. We buried her on Saturday. She was 103 years old, but God is still good through it all. So I made it here today since I'm off this week, and I just wanted to come and listen in person and then to be able to address you all. I sent an email over to you recently asking a number of questions about concerns from Josephson House, Josephson Apartments. When I stopped in there to pay visit and say hello, they approached me with a whole bunch of concerns that they had, and so I've sent you the email about that. I don't think you responded to me as of yet, but I'm hopeful that by the end of this week that I could get a response to each and every question that I've asked about it. My concern is not only for Josephson, but for all of the residents in the city, that our people are treated correctly and have a good quality of life
right? While I commend you all on the work that you're doing when it comes like the STEM Center and other things that you do that I may not know about, I am compelled to come forward when issues are brought to my attention that you do need to think about and you do need to address. So when it comes to our seniors, it tends to be sometimes that they are a forgotten population, right? And sometimes, depending on who I talk to and where I am, they would also say that they're forgotten, right? We need to be sure that we address the needs and the concerns, from fire notification of people that need to be getting out or escorted out of their apartments. I know that when it comes to some signage and stuff on doors, we want to be careful because that could attract the wrong kind of attention as well from people that know that someone vulnerable is in the apartment. But we still want to have some kind of notification system to alert the fire department or EMS that they're in the apartment and that they need help, right? If it's kept in the office and the office is closed at a certain time of day, and I don't know till you answer my questions, then how would they know which apartments to go to if they don't have access to the file that's in the office? There should be something more visible that they can get to if that is the case. I asked about a backup generator, if there's a generator for the building. We talked about the mold that's in the building throughout. I'm asking about inspections, how often you do it, when you do it, like what is going on, what is up with the security that is there. I was told that they are more like mail collectors and receptionists rather than those that would walk through the building and make sure that the people are secure and safe. They don't walk the perimeter. I don't know if that's true. Again, when you answer my questions, I'll know. The safety of our residents, regardless of the unit that they live in or the building that they live in, is paramount. There are no armed guards that are located at Josephson, but there's concerns even about that. The people that have been banned from the building that are still allowed to come into the building, what is the procedure and everything about that, right? What constitutes someone being banned, and then what allows them to come back in, and what are you doing to make sure that people are not allowing females or males to come into the apartments and be passed around from place to place? What are you doing to make sure that these seniors are feeling secure? So I'm not making this up. These are conversations that I've had. I was told that they've come forward and they've expressed certain concerns before, but they're just pushed off to the side. So if that is the case, I'm respectfully asking that we no longer do that and that we start taking their concerns seriously, because they are serious. If we all live to be long enough, if we all live to be older long enough, we never know where we may be, and we may not know who we would have to look to take care of us. And so I just ask you all that as you sit as appointed commissioners that come before us as council people, that you do what it is you are supposed to do, and that you exercise your due diligence just as I am expected to exercise mine as a councilwoman in this city, that you take the concerns of these people serious, regardless of how minimal it may be to you in your mind because of where you reside and the comforts that you have. You listen to them, and that you do your very best as we work through our budgets and everything else to take their needs into consideration and do right by them. All the time, not sometimes, every time. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna move forward with Ms. Deborah Hutchinson.
First of all, I'd like to thank Ms. Feliciano for coming. When she came to the building, she did hear a lot of our residents. I'm Deborah Hutchinson from Josephson Building, Vice President. Really, Ms. Feliciano really touched, and the email that she sent, I'm sure will be addressed, but to piggyback on what she said about the only thing we didn't touch about and letting her know about was the bed bugs in the building, how it continued to be a serious problem. We had 4, now we have 7 cases now in the building. And the procedure of how can we prevent this, is it something that we can do or something that can be done to stop the spreading of this? The second thing is even though I know it's nice outside, we had the snow removal. The contractors that did the snow, removed the snow off the property, they went from corner to corner. From the housing property to the corner of Hoffman and Oakland. It's a bus stop in front of our building, in front of Josephson Building. When we asked the contractors, because we have seniors that's in wheelchairs and everything, to shovel out 3 little shovels just so they have a pathway so they can bring the bus to the curb to get those people on, they refused to shovel out the snow, just for that little area for them to get onto the bus. The dumpster, they cannot get to the dumpster because they refuse to remove the snow around the dumpster. That was a problem for our seniors during the snowstorm, so they had to put the trash on the outside of the dumpster because there was not a pathway to the dumpsters for them to get to. So, as I said again, Ms. Feliciano really touched on a lot of the things that I wanted to say today. So I'm not going to go over that again, but we'll wait for a response from you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, Ms. Green.
Good morning. I came today because
Name?
hi, my name is Tammy Grant Funches. I'm second shift supervisor for security. I started coming because I had a lot of complaints about security, so I came to listen so I could fix it. But right now, I'm having a lot of problems with the laundry rooms, kids in the laundry rooms. So I know y'all put the key file up, but y'all didn't tell me. So y'all told me to lock the laundry room at 5 o'clock, so when people was in the laundry room, they was like, oh, we'll just leave our clothes because if you locking it, our clothes will be safe until tomorrow morning. So I'm telling them yes, because I know once I lock it, nobody's not coming in. No, that wasn't true. They had key files, so they was coming back in. And that's all I needed. I want communication of things when it happens so I can know, so I won't be telling the residents the wrong thing. Now I'm telling them their clothes is safe. Technically, their clothes wasn't safe. And then I'm having, like with the kids, I went to Sade on Monday, told her such and such, got red on it. And that's that's what I want from all the managers. If I'm coming to you and telling you I'm having a problem with X, Y, and Z, I need your help. That's why I'm coming.
Ms. Green, what, building, Ms. Grant, what building are you at?
I'm in Dolly, but I lock all the laundry rooms at 10 o'clock. So I'm in charge of all the laundry rooms. And like I said, when they call and say the kids is Singletary, he'll call me and say, the kids is in Wilson. So I call the armed guard and I said, can you come over to Wilson with me? And so we could get the kids out. Soon as we get back, Mr. Singletary calling me again. They in there. But I can't lock the laundry rooms until 10 o'clock because I don't want to lock them early because I don't want the other residents not to be able to wash clothes. So I know Prospect, they gave out all their little key files, so people are using it. So my concern is if they going to do it for Wilson and Lincoln. I see the file up there, but I don't know if they're going to do it for all three. And if they are, I would love for it to happen, but I just need help controlling the laundry rooms, even if the armed guards can go, and not me, at least, even with me at night at 10 o'clock locking them up. I think that should be a job for the armed guards. I don't think as a woman I should be out there locking the laundry rooms at 10 o'clock by myself.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Dorothy Lane. I am Vice President of the Tenant Council. I came to talk
What
to
building?
Downley. Okay. I'm here to speak about the party and stuff they having at night out here in front of the office. Before we had Club Donnelly, we got that shut down. Okay, now it's starting. Last night was Tuesday. Okay, it's not even a weekend. We used to have it on the weekend. Now it's on a Tuesday. Okay, and it's right outside your office building. They have the grill up. They have people coming. It's not the people that live here. These people don't live here. They come here. They announce it on Facebook, party at Donnelly. Okay, we don't want none of that up here. We stopped it before. It's quiet. Okay, up here, it's nice up here at night, but not every weekend, or now it's starting throughout the week. They're not giving a housing authority respect at all. And they say that it's coming from a person that lives right next to the, what is it, the street team or whatever, right here. Okay, we get up in the morning, we got the grill out there and the trash, okay? And it's like, they don't care. They, you know, we had to call the police, call security, and they couldn't even get out, the security. They had to go, but they got blocked in too. Okay, they only send like, after about 3 or 4 hours, then they send one police wagon. And they send it way down the street. They sit right there in the wagon and watch up here. Then get out, don't say anything, but the parking lot is filled up with cars. Why do we have to put up with this? We shouldn't. We live here. This here is ridiculous. And also is disrespect to us. Because they right here in front of your office, in front of security, in front of everywhere, the street team, everywhere. They don't care. They right here. And the people that live here can't even get in to go to their own house. Now that don't make sense to me. Okay, and my husband, he goes out, he comes back in, he can't even get in. You can't say anything to them. Okay, because they'll look at you like you're crazy, like you don't live here. Okay? So what we need to know is, what can we do about this?
Okay, I'll make sure they look into it.
Okay? And so, okay, you know the weekend's coming up. Okay, so what do you think about the weekend? Now, yesterday was Tuesday. Tonight, well, they may not show up because they say it's going to rain tonight. But that don't mean nothing. This is every other night. You can come in here at 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. You can't even, you know where the guard shack is? You can't even get in there. How the people gonna get in? You know, they just sit there and look at you. They blocked all the way up and down here last night. I took pictures. I had 4 girls come way down here where I live at, and they covering her while she urinates between 2 cars. Then she left, and I asked her, I said, what you doing? Yeah. And I let her know, I see what you're doing. Okay, then after they left and walked back up here, then here come 2 guys. One stand between the cars, and the other one is on the back of my husband's truck. He's trying to get his drugs out. I'm hollering at him out the window, what are you doing to the truck? And he looks up at me, and he don't know I have a camera, so it's catching. Every time somebody comes past my door, it goes off. So I'm looking at him on the camera. He's getting his drugs. He done dropped some of his drugs on the ground. He's down there trying to pick it up and then looked up at me and said something. I don't know what all he was saying, but I was letting him know, not up here.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Ms. Marsh, oh, excuse me, Ms. Ham.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Rolette Hammond. I live at Josephson, and I'm the secretary for the resident council in my building. I heard what you said, Mrs. Weldon, but I'm sick, so I'm going to go with it. We need your help. We need this body's help. We need some speed bumps on our street on Oakland, please, and a stoplight maybe, or one or the other, or both. Because they drive down our street like it's the Daytona 500, alrighty? And we've got old people trying to cross the street, and there's not a crosswalk at the corner by the bus stop either. So maybe we should ask for that too, crosswalk. Maybe somebody will respect that. Also, trying to get shelters at the bus stop, which is one in front of Josephson, and one right across the street near Nordax. So that's where the bus stop is, right in the corner of Nordax and Oakland, and then across right in front of the building. Okay, when it rains and you're out there waiting for the bus, which is usually late, you will get wet, because the minute you turn around and try to go in, it's when it's going to go zooming by. There used to be a bench in the little alcove by the bus stop. It was removed because I understand the vagrants were sleeping on it. However, I'm going to ask for a bench again, and ask them to put in the dividers. That way, if they want to sleep there, they're going to be very uncomfortable sleeping there. Alrighty. So, if anything we can do to assist, if you want us to write, call Trenton City Council, anything like that, and we get some of your push, I'll be more than happy to do that. So, thank you for that. You were talking about dumping, Mr. Godfrey. Well, Josephson is a favorite spot. We have contractors come in and dumping stuff in there. Sometimes they come and dig in there. Okay, they come in and take stuff out and carry it. I do have some of their plate numbers, because if I'm coming home and I see them, I take pictures. So she talked about the thing, dirty room. Another thing, we have a kitchen, a nice kitchen. When I got there, it was nice, still nice. Beautiful stove, can't use it. Why? Because we don't have any exhaust. So there's in the kitchen, there on the wall toward the back, there's a little vent thing there that normally, exhausts for in case the heat go out, but not attached to anything. So for the winter, Ms. Hutchison and I have been sick the whole winter, because we've been going in and out of the kitchen, because that's where our goods are for us to try to sell to make some money. And it's been, 10 degrees? Yeah. And we're in and out. So I've had a constant sinus infection for the longest time, which you hear now because my voice is going a little husky. It would be nice if we could figure out what we can do to make it functionable. Okay, like get our heads together, not adversarial, but as a team, and see what we can do to fix that, because that would really, really help. Now the weather's changing, it's getting warmer. So now we're gonna have the opposite situation happening. It's gonna be hot. All the other stuff, I think I need to go to step 1 before I come, and I won't whine here, I promise. Okay, I'll just send you a love note. All right, it's good to see you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Hammond. Ms. Marshall?
Can I just one more thing? Thank you, my love. Come closer. I'm sorry. The movers, when they're moving in the building, especially from the bed bug apartments, they're bringing them through the halls and the elevators, not covered, nothing, like not in a bag, none of that. So something to think about. Thank you. Thank you, love.
Good evening, Virginia Marshall, Donnelly Resident Council. I got a lot of stuff to address. First, I want to address Trenton Housing Authority staff. Thank you guys for coming to our tenant meetings. Ebony, Management Office, Mr. Reggie, Carmel, for
trying to get ahead of and addressing a lot of the residents' complaints that they have. So we are working with Tanya Grant, we're working with everybody. But the biggest pet peeve I have is the gut. Saturday, I came in about 9 o'clock. My sister brought me home. I couldn't go. They had a car here, 2 cars here, blocked the entrance in and out. So I told my sister, back up. We not beeping no horn, we not saying, because I don't know what this is. You had a whole bunch of guys standing on the side where the street team building is, dressed all in black. We backed out. I'm calling 911, and I did protocol, call 911. I also called Tammy from security. I also called Mr. Glover and did the chain of command. When I called 911, 911 told me, this is not an emergency. Call the non-emergency. They gave me the non-emergency number, 609-989-4000. So I called that. Then they said, well, we'll send somebody out. I said, well, you think I'm going to stand there and give you detail to detail? I told you what it is. These people don't even live here. They're drug dealers, gangbangers. This is what we're dealing with. Come and remove them. Break that whole situation up. They're here 2, 3 o'clock and people can't get in. So I'm up all night. I'm like, oh, if I gotta be up all night, I'm calling people. Because the thing is, these residents live here, they pay money here, and they can't even get in their resident. Then they have to drive on Calhoun. Okay, by that time, Calhoun is all lined up with cars because nobody can't get in the entrance to park in where they live at. And they gotta walk through with kids. And it don't matter what time of night a person come in. Whatever, whether you working, whether you taking care of somebody, whatever the case is, you should be able to come in your home, park your car where you pay rent at, and rest. Not deal with the shenanigans that we don't even have no involvement in. And then Tuesday, I'm like, Tuesday? What's going on Tuesday? Because usually we deal with this on the weekend. But now they're doing it during the day, and it's a disrespect. And then they saying, oh, well, they ain't tearing down nothing. We not going nowhere. Y'all not? So this is what I'm talking about. Club Dolly is not about to resurface. Not as long as my name is Virginia L. Marshall. Because this is ridiculous. We're not about to have 500 people. We're not about to deal with the body droppings. We're not about to deal with none of this. And like I said, I told the police department, I don't know what everybody doing, because every time I'm at a meeting, whether it's CPAC meeting, whatever, everybody hears about it. It don't need to be no more talking. It needs to be action. Because these are people's lives on the line. When you got residents trying to get mail, they 3 or 2 women going to the mailbox and they trying to get in the house before the dark and don't come back out. That's barricading somebody in their house. They can't even come out and enjoy their time and go wherever they need to go and do it. They trying to hurry up and get to their house. That's causing distress. We need to shut that down. We need to find somewhere for these people to go ASAP. We can't do this prolonging thing no more. It's getting bad. It's been bad. We've been arguing about this every meeting. Tenants, resident meeting, and you know, like I tell the people, I feel for y'all. I don't know what else to do, because I'm speaking at these meetings. I'm speaking to the police director or whoever he has coming. And this don't make no sense. You can't tell me that you can't shut this down and clean this up. No one should be allowed to live. And me personally, and I'm speaking on me, I didn't see anybody drop in front of me. I didn't see somebody murdered in front of me. I don't want that again. And it's coming. If we don't shut this down, it's coming. We can't deal with no more of that. We done had so many bodies drop around here. And I get it. We filing grants and we doing this and that. People's lives is at stake. I don't want to walk out my door and again see people running and shooting up the middle of, and kids are around. Like, what you supposed to do? We can only do so much as residents. But when you got people that are in positions, I don't care about no political thing. I don't care about none of that. People are assigned. You put yourself in the limelight to be sworn in. You get a paycheck. People need to start doing their job. Because too many lives are being lost for negligence. Meaning you're not cleaning it up. You know what's going on. Everybody say, we know, we know. Okay, so how many times we gonna say no till a body job, till a kid is on the ground dead? Till they start spraying bullets and they don't have no name on it, they go wherever. We already experienced that. When my daughter came home, parked her car, they shot through my daughter's car. And like the police said, if that luggage, she didn't have that luggage, she said, Mom, I was at work and I decided to put the luggage in the trunk. If she didn't put that luggage in that trunk, that bullet would have hit my daughter. And I promise you, Trenton would have known who I was. I don't want to experience none of that for not just my child, nobody's child. Nobody, parent, grandparent, people losing their lives senselessly for nothing because nonsense. We don't do drugs. We ain't selling drugs. When you come out at night, you got the drug addicts. They sitting on the sidewalk from the entrance all the way down to where the street team, and they rocking. Because they spaced out. The drug dealers right there, they selling whatever. Listen, I get it. Everybody's in but y'all don't understand. This anxiety that I have, and it's not just for me, it's for all the people that are living down there. I don't want to see nobody innocent. Them people are scared. They can't say nothing. If they call the cops, just like they said, the cops come and roll out. Y'all get paid to protect us. And just because y'all call this public, it's not public, it's private, so we can't get protected? No. That has to get shut down ASAP. It's no longer we sitting discussing what we can do, whatever. Wherever apartments is available, get them fixed, move them people out of there. Tear that crap down and shut it down. Because if we don't, it's not even spring and summer. And here we go. Yep. And they don't care, and they let us know that they don't care. And you're right, Ms. Dottie, it's a disrespect. Because the fact that y'all can sit here and do this in front of the street team's office building, outside your office, in here where the residents, the seniors live, whatever little bit seniors, they so scared. I be like, you know what, whatever y'all do, don't say nothing to these people. Walk past, try to walk in unity. You know, just like when they leave our tenant meeting, they walk together down there. But them residents from the gut, they make sure they at the meeting and they express to us what is. Some people, they say they don't want to come over and tell anything. So I said, just give it to us. We'll pass it.
All right, thank you so much.
Why you saying thank you so much? Because this is serious.
And I'm taking that serious too. And your time is up. We understand.
You know what, Miss Weldon? You really need to check your attitude and check yourself. Because every meeting we come to, you're nasty. And you really, really need to take stuff more seriously than you do. And if you cannot, then remove yourself. Resign.
Thank you so much.
And I'm putting that on the record.
Thank you.
No. One of them, I'm sorry. Miss Jean, I'm not sure her name.
That was Councilman.
Oh, okay. You already went.
I didn't know what that was. I thought that was the attendance. I'm sorry.
Good afternoon. I'm Mrs. Pickett, Josephson Building. The issue is, can she say her name again? Mrs. Pickett.
Thank you.
Going to the parking lot, the back parking lot, it has been leaking back there for years, on and off. They claim they fixed it. It's leaking again. I suspect, because there's an odor back there, I suspect there's sewage. It's coming from the overhang as you walk to the back parking lot. And now, the reason I'm speaking on it is because the weather's getting good. And we often have cookouts out there, different things. And you have to, I mean, that's the area where that's always shaded. So we put tables out there so people don't have to sit in the sun if they don't want to. You know, some are sitting on the benches, but a lot of people like to sit at the tables because it's a seat and it's cool, it's a little cooler there. So I'm asking that you take heed and fix that. I mean, they told me a couple of weeks before the second snow, oh, it's fixed. It's leaking again. And water's just draining out up from up under there. So could you please do something about that? Because like I said, the weather's getting warm and we're going to try to be out there. Okay? Question? When you come out the building and you go to your left and you go up under there, it's like overhang. It's the building to the parking lot. And if you go over there, you will see it.
It's that first split.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Because twice already we were told it's been fixed and it's leaking like I all get out. I mean, it's not a hard drip, but it's a steady drip. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bridges. That's all the residents, that's all the resident comments we have.
At this time, we'll have commissioner comments. Ms. Staton?
Thank you, Madam Chair. First off, I want to thank the folks who came, the residents who came out to speak. Councilwoman Ms. Hutchison, Ms. Lang, Ms. Funches, who is security and doing a fabulous job in my opinion. Ms. Hammond, Ms. Marshall, and Ms. Pickett. So, everybody had a lot of complaints. There was not anything real complimentary said to us today about any aspect of living in the housing authority. My question is, when they come here, they're very frustrated, and I get it, because I can feel it. I want to know, where are the building managers? What are they doing? You know, and because no one ever mentions them at all. It appears like, you know, this was the last result. I don't know if we're the first place they come, but I don't think so, because a lot of the folks here have lived here a long time and appear to know the protocol and chain of command. What are the building supervisors doing, managers doing? Are their complaints listed somewhere? And who do they bring them to? Do they come to you, or do the building managers report to someone else before they come to you?
They report to somebody else.
Before it comes to you.
And the complaints, if we're speaking, being that there's various complaints.
Yeah.
You have work orders that will start the process, or it's the resident complaint form.
Right. See, because the snow thing really got me, because that snow was horrendous, right? The snow was everywhere. It was, oh, we had snow almost up to the front of my porch window. It was, you know, trying to pile it because you don't want to put it in the street. But I do get it about the curb, because a lot of people were still taking the bus, and when the bus let people off at the different places, the curb hadn't been cleaned. And so you saw people struggling getting off the bus and stepping in all like feet of snow to get to the sidewalk. All right, so that was a street, that was a city problem, because it was, you know, those streets. But on our property, to hear that, that's crazy.
Well, the location that they're saying is partial city, is partial house
Yeah.
as well. So
Yeah, I
when the
get
truck comes,
I get that, I get that part, but you know, because we do have a commitment to our residents, and we know the people that we serve and their, the special needs that they have, we need to make sure that when we do these, when we hire these contractors to do that kind of service, we must keep in mind that we have to provide as much accessibility as we can for them. You know what I mean? Now, maybe you can't do the one across the street, on Oakland Street, but certainly, the sidewalk in front of our buildings on Oakland Street ought to be done, because that's where the buses come. Not having it clear for them to go to the dumpsters, that's just plain neglect. That's just plain neglect, and, and I get so it happens, and then you tell somebody, and it usually gets fixed, right? They've come here in March to talk about it. So it never happened, and
That's not necessarily true.
no,
Because if you have time for the dumpsters to melt, if they went to somebody beforehand, just because they come in now doesn't mean they didn't talk to somebody early on when it snowed in February. It's not necessarily true that nobody said or did anything from that time period.
yeah, but then why would you be compelled to come talk about it?
Because it's an issue like you have Miss Virginia Marshall. Miss Marshall, that's an issue that's really near and dear to her.
Oh, I'm gonna get to
So
that,
even
yeah.
when, I'm just saying, as an example, people are going to come and speak because it is that place where they can get some result. Not just because, oh, they didn't do something in another location. I know I'm gonna come here because I can get some result. Some of the issues that we're having is community issues, right? So community issues, they're relying on us to be that partner with them to go and speak to the necessary parties, right? A big thing that was said was, you have police come and leave. We've paid security for policing on various occasions, and they did nothing. So that's a community issue that we have to stand up with Ms. Marshall and all those
Yes.
parties and represent that. So I understand, and I applaud these persons for coming up and speaking and addressing that issue because they need help. And that's why we are here. So, unfortunately, in this setting, as Commissioner Weldon has stated, it's a listening session. We have to hear that. It's not a back and forth and telling them what happened in this particular moment or didn't happen in this particular moment. It's up for us to process that information and start getting things done. So I understand where you're coming from, but it's not automatically that nobody did anything in between that time. So I would like to defend my staff in that moment.
Excuse me, I'd like to say,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I have to say.
No, I'm sorry.
It's cool, we'll talk later, okay, Ms. Hutchins? Okay. Thank you for that.
I just don't want it to be that staff isn't doing anything. I don't want to put out that.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case either, because all the services that we're talking about now are contracted unless it was stamped that does the snow removal. It is a contractor, okay. The security, and I talk about that all the time, and although I've had a conversation with the director of security, and he assures me that, he is, doing what he can with what he's working with, and I understand all that, but no good, because we've been talking about little things all year, and now big things are starting to happen, and I just feel like there needs to be something else happening. I don't want to keep listening. I want to be able to do something. I don't have a lot of free time, but I'm committed to this board. And if there's a meeting, or if there's somewhere we need to go, or if there's a letter I need to write or sign, I'm available. Because this cannot continue, this can't continue to happen every month. That's all I have. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Walker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is she still here? Yes, Ms. Marshall, you know that I've worked here for many years. And we've had this problem at Donnelly Homes probably for the last 25 years.
Correct.
Okay? The issue that we have, the commissioners, the executive director, the city, the mayor, the police department, everyone has come together over the years. But for some reason, Donnelly Homes remains the way it is. Now, I'm not sure why that is, because unfortunately, I think it's the manpower. It really is the mindset of the people in Trenton. They don't have a place to go. They don't have, some of them are homeless. They don't have, their attitudes are what they are. Yes, we fear them. Don't even say anything because you don't know what they're going to do. But we heard you and we hear you, and we have done several things over the years. The staff at the Housing Authority, I will say, has done a lot to for your issues.
I agree.
Security, we had what is that light put up in the front, what is that? We had the camera there. We've worked with the police where they would come in for a while, you know, a whole bunch of them, and it would resolve. As soon as they stop, they come right back. Why Donnelly Homes? Well, I think it was, a lot of it started with what you call the gut. We had a lot of actually residents that were bringing it in, but they're gone. And we had, you know, so you are heard. And I hear your sincerity. I've seen it. I've been where you're at, saying the same things, and nothing happens. And that is with the whole city coming together. It hasn't worked. So I'm not sure what the resolve is going to be. I'm sorry to say that, I just don't know, but I do know that we're gonna leave this meeting, and we're gonna take that complaint, and we're gonna go to the different city council, police, see what we can do to make it better, because like you said, Tuesday it was warm. That's why everybody was out there. So you know what you're gonna get. They're coming back. In droves, you know that, right? So we have to try to do something to defend it. And the police, I mean, they tell you, they're just they're overwhelmed with all parts of the city that's doing the exact same thing in other neighborhoods. So we heard you, we're gonna do the best we can to try to keep that from happening throughout the summer. We'll try to find a recipe, and we'll come back to you and let you know what we did and what happened and what you are to expect going forward.
I appreciate that.
Okay. And the bed bug issue, that really concerns me. They do travel. I mean, we have a company that comes in, there's like this 3-part process. But a bed bug, it only takes 1 or 2 to get somewhere else, and then there's bed bugs there. I do think that over the years, we've had a lot of cases, but they have diminished. But we really need to get on those 7, so there don't be 11 or 12, so we heard that as well. And we've heard everything that you guys say. We do not leave here and say, oh, I'm going home to my beautiful home and don't think about them. That's not true. I don't think that's true for any commissioner. I don't think that's true for the managers, the executive director. We have a heart for the people. We really do. And we hear you. We don't want you living in those conditions, and we are trying to do what we can do to make it better for you, for all of you. And that's my piece. I'm done. Thank you.
Commissioner Lopez?
I'm gonna address, I think, the safety issue, right? We all have thoughts there. I do want to still bring a couple comments before that. In regard to the policy committee, I think there is an opportunity to explore change management practices. I think I've heard on a couple occasions where there's been some communication gaps, and today's example was with our security, and so kind of coming up with a communication, so adding to that communications policy comment from the last meeting, I think adding a change management practices portion of that would be really helpful for us. In regard to safety and enforcement, because really this is an enforcement issue, there's 2 things here. There's a long-term approach of what we're trying to do as the authority, and then the short-term, which is the immediate safety of our residents. In the long term, we at least know we have the choice neighborhood, which is identifying that a place like Donnelly Homes is set up in a way where structurally it's hard to maintain enforcement. Structurally it's hard to treat the residents the way that we know they need to be treated. And this is something that's happening across all authorities in the nation. And so when we think about our RAD conversions and the choice neighborhood, that's what this is looking to solve from a long-term perspective. In the short term, we know that people are still going to take advantage of whatever they can, whenever they can, because that's the mindset, as you mentioned, right, of people. I'm born and raised in Trenton, in South Trenton, a neighborhood called Down Bottom, and so, you know, where I'm from, it's a, where I'm from, it's an area where specifically it's a heroin block. That's what the specific drug that they're selling, and there's always been activity. And truth be told, a lot of times people from Kingsbury Towers are coming down into our area. It's essentially where people congregate. It's our version, you could say, of Donnelly Homes. Although I do think, right, the numbers here are more astronomical, and so I'm sure the considerations and the dangers are also different. But as was mentioned, these types of get-togethers and parties and how people are congregating are happening everywhere. I now live right off of Stuyvesant in West Trenton, and right, it's the same thing. And so these things are happening in pockets in the city, and so it is a community issue. And so the challenge there is, while we're working on the choice neighborhood and taking the long-term approach, how can we still ensure that everyone feels safe, feels seen, feels respected and dignified? And that's what we're going to be taking from here, how we can partner with our council people and with our director of police, and how we can partner with maybe others in the county and in the state to help us with these issues. And so, like the director, I commend you for coming and speaking to us today, for everyone's bravery, especially on the issue of safety, because I think the number one concern is retaliation, you know, and with that in mind, you know, we have to be diligent about these things. And so thank you again for speaking today.
Commissioner Green?
Hi, residents. Miss Virginia, you know, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. But I'm not the commissioner that's about to just blame one group of party. I'm 35 years old. Like Simon said, we're both born and raised from Down Bottom. This is an issue in Trenton. Right now on Lamberton, I'm from Lamberton, it's about to be hot. Diamonds in the Rough is about to have 300 people outside on a regular basis. They're doing about 95 driving down Lamberton. We literally, my community had to protest, and they went to city council because we have a deaf child on our block. And we had to put signs up because God forbid that baby is in the park and a car doing 95 down Lamberton. We see that tractor trailers are now coming down Lamberton. They're going way too fast. Our kids have parks in the communities, but again, if parents not enforcing their children to go to the park and play, and they're allowing their kids to play in the street, when we have the park of Lamberton, we have a new park literally by Cooper's Pool. But again, parents, residents, and I keep saying this, it's us in Trenton, it's all of us. It's council, it's commissioners, it's the community, it's the police officers. I was just sitting here and I was writing, I wrote commissioners and council. I put security underneath for commissioners, and I put police under city council. And then the thing, I guess it was God, because he be talking to me now a lot. And God said, because you're operating under fear. And when you operate under fear, you don't think right and you don't make the right decisions. And that's the problem. Like, we're scared of retaliation. I'm not scared of no one. And the reason why, my mom told me, you have a black mother, you don't have to fear anybody because you come from a black woman. So I'm not afraid of nobody. I think that we operate underneath the fear. And we scared to say something. Even when I came in, I seen the guys out there in all black, and I rolled down my window and I asked them what they were doing. They like, why are you asking? What you doing out here? Y'all don't live out here. What are y'all doing out here? Of course, one of them gave me the middle finger, and I gave it back because I'm not afraid of them. And I think that's the problem. I do think that we need to come up with solutions. I'm not about to sit here and talk about all the problems. The solutions is we need to go ahead and put the little things up. They need this key to get in here. Like, I think we playing too nice in Trenton. I think the residents and I think the people, I'm telling you, I'm a millennium. They need structure. We need to put key cards up. If they don't live here, they don't come here. They need, all cars need parking passes, because I live in the suburbs and that's how we operate. We got parking passes. You park in my parking place and see how fast I call halts and sit here and watch your car get towed when my daughter's standing right here. I don't care. Like, rules is rules, regulations is regulations, and we just being too nice as a board. I think we need to just go ahead and put our foot down. Go ahead and put the key pass. If they don't live here, they don't be here. Security not doing their job, act like Trump and remove them. And remove them. They're not doing their job. Like, this is because becoming honestly frustrating and annoying. Like, you're right, we're about to see bodies dropping maybe
Yep.
today, because it's going to be 81 degrees. Somebody might get killed literally tonight. This is Trenton. This is what we dealing with. Put security, like, they should not just be able to come here. I came out here, I sat on Nikki Dott's porch, Miss Virginia, one night till 1 o'clock in the morning. It was 600 people out here. I couldn't even park my car in here. I had to walk around here. It was 600 people out here. I seen a lady when she got ran over and they took her legs off. Like, it's just, it's disturbing. It's disturbing. Police officers, maybe we do need to go to city council. Maybe we need to sit down with city council. Because I don't understand, are the police afraid? Like, if you afraid to operate in this city, don't go get a badge. Like, it's just becoming, they sit there, they don't do anything. I've watched the cops, I sat on Ms. White porch before too. I watched the cops, 2 cop cars, park their cars back here, they didn't do nothing. They don't, I think we're operating underneath the fear. Maybe we're afraid that these guys are gonna retaliate back. I mean, we don't really have a big gang presence in Trenton anymore. Like, it's not that. They're not doing nothing. These is not the ones. The ones that was really about that life, they're already in jail or dead. But like, this is not working, and I think we need security. We might have to get real armed guards, but we don't need to allow people to come up here who don't live here. It's time to shut that off. Like, they need visitor passes. Like, I live in Hopewell. You cannot come in my community, period. Hopewell PD will be there within 3 minutes, and they locking you up. They tell you one time, I tell you not to come over here. Second time, they arrest you. And it's their police officers. Like, their officers are just not to be played with at all. So we don't have that. Kids running around in the middle of the streets, it's not happening. Hopewell PD is on their job, and which is why their community is operating the way it's operating. Ewing, Lawrenceville, everybody. Trenton seems to be focused on drugs and guns. If I call the cops and say, oh, somebody got a gun out here, they are coming out here and they're doing their job. If you don't call and say it's a gun, they're not going to do it. And that's how they get them to come to South Trenton. I'm telling y'all. They call 911, they tell them they got guns, and they come and they shut it down. And it's over. Nobody is calling and saying guns. If you call and say they have guns, they're going to come and they're going to shut it down. That's all they're worried about is guns and drugs. That's my comment.
Commissioner Jenkins.
Wow.
They say guns, and they go
That's
shut it
pretty
down.
much covered everything there is to cover. I want to thank all the residents who came out and expressed themselves. A lot of things that, like for instance, to move the mattress out with bed bugs and don't cover it. I mean, that's something small, keeping bed bugs from spreading. The idea that you're at a seniors building and you won't shovel the snow so that they'll have access to us. That's just crazy. That's just crazy. As minor as it sounds, that's nature. That's just crazy, you know? The issue with the Club Downing. Now, I tell you, I was born and raised in Trenton. I wasn't born down the bottom. So I guess where I was at was considered up at the top. Same problems. And personally, for a long time, I felt Trenton's police department has been a very weak department. They just don't come cover the needs. There should be like them state troopers, when that triangle turn the corner, things start to happen. You know, so they just don't have no respect for them. They need to do things that's gonna make them have respect. And the young lady who's saying she goes around to laundry rooms 10 o'clock at night to lock them up, that's a little over the top, I think.
Right.
That's kind of, that's a little dangerous. And I really think we need to take a look at that, you know. And there was so much that was said here today to take a look at it. But one thing, I think it was Commissioner Walker, he said, we don't come here and hear your complaints and go home and say the hell with them. It's not like that. We're here because of care and concern. And that's why we're here, you know. I just want to thank you for letting me share.
For one, Ms. Marshall, I am truly dedicated to this job because I do a lot of things behind the scenes. I care about the seniors, I care about the residents. And I want you to know, I even took a 9-week police academy class because complain about what the police is not doing. And I needed to know for myself what their roles and responsibilities are. The roles and responsibility of the police now is totally different. They are not allowed to stop anybody, ask them for ID, even though they don't live there. It's a shame, but this is what we have to deal with. I even went to the prosecutor's office because I wanted to have a meeting to bring everybody to the table. You know what they told me? Not right now, Dolly, because we have bigger fish to fry. And I said, excuse me? So are you saying to me that I'm not important? My issue is not important? They said, your issue is just not important right now. So trust me, I understand, because I have to deal with that where I live at also, on Oakland and Hoffman. They out there to 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. No matter how many times I call the police, they'll shoo them away and then they come back. The problem is, we have to look at our tenants and our neighbors because this is the company that they are keeping. So there's a lot of issues, but everybody needs to come to the table. You can't come sometime, you have to come all the time. Because when you let things lapse 1 or 2 times, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Because you didn't do nothing last week, you didn't say nothing last week, but now this week you got an issue. We all, as tenants and residents, we got to do our part too. So please, don't ever think that I don't care about the issue, because I do. And trust me, I am trying to do something to change it. And this is something that is an ongoing situation due to the fact how Trenton behaves. A lot of people want a title, but they don't do their job. So I can only do but so much. So trust me, I am in this for the long haul. I do care about people. I was not born and raised here in Trenton. But every election year, you get the same people out there who's gonna promise you the world. As soon as election is over, where are they? What are they doing for you? They're gonna feed you for a while, throw a couple of dollars at you, and everybody's all giggly, giggly, giggly. And then we back to the same old thing. And then the ones who don't get voted in, where are they? You don't see them no more. What are they doing in the community? If you out there campaigning, you should be able to do something for the city every day, even if you won or you lost. You should still be advocating for the people who won, getting on their team to see what you can still do to make the city better. And since we are in this predicament, some things take time. And we got to be able to deal with that. Some things just don't happen overnight. So trust me, I am here to do the work, and I am doing the work. At this time, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Jinx.
I grew up in Wilmington.